Hey, Ashley here. Thanks for tuning in for another All Things Tabletop video. This video is just a real quick one I threw together to highlight mine and my husband's A Song of Ice and Fire miniature game, the minis that we own. Um, if you like this, if you'd like to see more progress, make sure to comment down below. If you have any questions about how any of this was done, um, I am more than happy to do further videos on this subject if needed. I hope you enjoy. Thanks.
All right, guys, so this is our A Song of Ice and Fire miniature collection that you will see off and on featured in the Tabletop Versus videos. We have Starks, Lannisters, Baratheons, and some neutrals. The Starks are mine, the Lannisters and the Baratheons are my husband's. Husband, not really a painter, so his army is very much unpainted, while I've been steadily working on the Starks, mine. I'll eventually, hopefully, get to all the rest of them. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. All right, so for the Baratheons, it's just the starter set for now. We have some Baratheon Wardens, I believe they're called, some Stag Knights, and some Sentinels, and then the attachments and heroes that come in the box. You can see that my husband went ahead and spray painted them with some Leadbelcher spray just to kind of speed along the painting process, as these guys are mostly in armor. Eventually we plan on using contrast, the yellow contrast paints on like the shields and the flags, hence why you can kind of see whether he started painting them. I think it's like Wraithbone. But yeah, there's his Baratheons. Oh, of note, if when you buy these from the box, one of your figures, like this dude here, comes broken or misshapen, you can let CMON know, and they will send you a new one for free in the mail. It just takes some time. All right, and that's the Baratheons. As for our neutrals, we have an unopened box of Stormcrow archers. Then we have some Stormcrow mercenaries, bastard girls. That's, by the way, my husband's first painting attempt. Not too bad. Some blade men and some cutthroats, and then the heroes that came, neutral heroes 1. All right, so for my husband's Starks, we originally got these Starks versus Lannisters, my husband's Lannisters. We originally got the Starks and Lannisters box, and we've added to it over time. You can see that he has some unopened Lannister crossbowmen and Lannister heroes 2. The rest of these units that he has are, looks like we got 2 units of guardsmen, some halberdiers, 2 units of mountain men, some Knights of Casterly Rock, some pyromancers. You get your attachments. And then I think you also mixed in here is Lannister's Heroes 1, and then the ones that the starter set came with. So that's his current Lannister army. And finally, we have my Starks. The units that I have here are, we have some Umber Great Axes, some Umber Berserkers, 2 units of Sworn Shield, Tully Sworn Shields, some Tully Cavaliers. Got some attachments. We have Stark Heroes 1 and 2. We have some Stark Outriders, Stark Bowmen, and then 2 units of Stark Sworn Swords. So I learned how to paint minis on these guys. I've kind of evolved with my painting over time. They are all very much a work in progress. I started out with these sworn swords here, where I just primed them with a can, and then did the basic paint system from Games Workshop with, you know, your base paints, and you put a shade over it, and then eventually do some highlights. These are just base painted with shading. Same with the umbers. They have a little bit of highlighting, maybe some dry brushing I think I did on these guys, like where the fur is. And then I started experimenting a little bit more. I got a airbrush and did some zenithal highlighting. I did zenithal, I believe, on these Bowman. Though I didn't really have contrast paints, so I just tried to thin down my base paints and paint these guys. Like these horses here, these Outriders. Again, all these are pretty much just base painted with maybe some shading. No real detail work, and I haven't done any of the basing yet. Here's the shields, a little closer look. Started doing a little bit of highlighting on these guys here. Then we have over here on these Cavaliers, I zenithal highlighted them with the airbrush. And then I used only contrast paints. They only have one base layer of contrast paints on them, and then some metallic paints. And it turned out pretty good. I like some of the contrasts, how they work, especially the red, and I liked how this one kind of looks. And then for my heroes here, again, very much a work in progress. You got Rickon, and who I thought was Mir, but is actually Osha, hence why her colors are more Mira colored based. And blanking on Rickon's dog's name, Shaggy Dog, I believe. Those are just contrast over zenithal, nothing more. And you got Brandon Hodor over, and Brandon Hodor and Summer. Them, I've got more layering and dry brushing and stuff. I think they turned out pretty well. And we got Arya and Syrio. Those are just contrast painted over zenithal. And some of my earlier work, she got at Ned Stark and Catelyn and Sansa and Roderick. I have not tried painting faces yet. I'm scared of that. A little advanced. I don't want all my faces look like they're melting off. We got Brynden Tully, a contrast painted Mira. You got Robb Stark with Grey Wind. And then the three dudes that I have not painted yet, I think you got Lord Umber, Howland Reed, I believe is his name, and Jojen. He's zenithal. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera, but lighter, maybe a little bit darker. Yeah. Okay. One other thing of note, I found when playing this game, just a handy tip, if possible, I highly recommend you magnetize these guys. There's different ways to do it. I put a little magnet on the bottom and then a washer on the inside. That way, when you're playing with them, moving them around, they stay put, because you bump these things a lot and they'll fall out really easily if they're not magnetized. And then also magnetize the bottom of the tubs I carry them in. That way, like all my free attachments, they just hang out in there. It's pretty cool or handy. Yeah, if you don't magnetize them, then you barely move them. Let's see if I can find some that aren't and they just kind of fall, and it's just a mess. So yeah, highly recommend you magnetize these things. And yeah, that is our Song of Ice and Fire miniature collection as it is now. We do have in the mail coming at some point the big box. I cannot remember what it's called, but it basically has some of the alt sculptures, and it has some Game of Thrones themed maps and other cool little goodies. So I'll do an unboxing of that when it gets here. And eventually we hope to get our hands on some Neutral Heroes too. The new Baratheon units when they come out. We'll see how things go. All right, thanks for watching.